One of my favorite stories about an images student was when they were doing an advocacy day over in Olympia. And I don't really recall whether this person was still in images or just barely out. But one of the legislators asked this person what his goal was when he was, as a young adult. He said, "Sir, I want to be a taxpayer." Yeah.
There are lots of people who want things to be really simple, and one of the things that is simple that will transform our current crisis and transform the lives of people with developmental disabilities is jobs. I hope that you're here to accept the challenge to transform the transition years to ensuring that people who leave transition leave with a job or with a portfolio that will allow them to get a job. And we are working in the division to sustain, to have those resources that help people keep those jobs after they leave school. Thank you for those of you who accept that challenge and have that vision as well. I appreciate that, and we are willing to work in partnership with you. Thank you.
While we can and should celebrate our collective successes, we should also take this opportunity to rededicate ourselves to the premise that not only can all students learn, all students can achieve more equal measures of post-school success as well. I fully understand, as I'm sure you do, that many challenges remain, particularly with regard to our most significantly impacted students. I also fully understand that budget reductions at the state and local level, a sluggish economy, unstable markets, increasing unemployment rates threaten us all. But I don't think any of that means that we should diminish or retreat in any way from what we have been able to collectively accomplish under the most difficult circumstances during the past decade. Now is not a time to be divisive. Now is not a time to curtail our efforts. Now is the time more than ever to join our forces and push ourselves harder to accomplish even more in terms of continuing to close the post-school outcomes gap.
It's important that we work together. DVR has taken on many projects to that end. We work with King County in the School to Work program. We developed agreements with King and Snohomish County in what we call the 3C project. These are all projects designed to help individuals transition from school to work. And they wouldn't work unless we worked together.
King County School to Work works with 18 of the 19 school districts in King County. So we work with almost every single district in King County. 8 of those districts have a partnership model with us, and TOP is one of them. What that means is there's a few essential differences, and I've outlined them in this slide. But one, it continues to blend and braid funding, deepening the partnership concept. So the school district kicks in some funding to pay for the cost of an employment service provider staff, or in Kent's case, 2 staff, to work with all of their identified exiting students.
Our goal at TOP, we talk a lot about the yellow school bus and the day when the yellow school bus no longer comes. We want students to be prepared for the first day of the rest of their life as they leave our program. I think some of the things that may make us a little different than other programs is that we have 2 different kinds of work assessments that we do out in the community. All students work in whatever capacity. We have one aspect is that students go out in a small group. They may go out with a group leader, an adult, a para, a job coach. They have many titles. And they go out in the community and they work. And they're supervised by that individual while they're working. We have another model of which we use for students who are what we call an internship. And in an internship, the student is trained to be on the site by our staff, and our support is faded, and they're naturally supported by individuals in the community.
And one of our students, a very high-functioning student named Tyler, we didn't have a lot for him to do. So what I asked Tyler to do was make a video of what he does at TOP. So here's a job that we carved out because we have the iMac, because we have the iPads.
Oh, hello. My name is Tyler Tata, and I am the editor of making 2 movies for Sapal and Daniel. One of their parents really loved their students on the movie, so I am glad they loved it. And right now I'm making an intro of myself for the movie, and it's really awesome. Hey Tyler, how about you tell them what you do every day? Good thinking, Tyler. Let's find out. Every morning, I unpack my stuff and get ready to work. When I look at my calendar, that I will find out who I'll be giving to for the camera. I always have to remember to always eject from the Mac so I can pull out the flip. Today is Lane's day, so I will be giving it to Lane so he could record from his students. When Lane is done recording from his students, he gives it back to me and I insert it from the Mac. After it's inserted to the Mac, I go to the iMovie and import all Lane's video clips to the iMovie. After it's in the iMovie, I go and edit the whole video clips and then make a movie out of it. And then after that, I go to the iDVD and CD burn it. Thank you, Tyler, and I just want to say for everybody, thank you for watching this movie, and I hope you enjoy watching it. Bye-bye!
He filmed everything by himself. He edited it all by himself. I gave him a direction. He did the rest. I think it's just real amazing what he was able to do. Right now, he's applying for a paid district internship to work on the district media team. So hopefully in a week or two, we'll be able to say he's now paid to edit videos.
I had the opportunity with a student, actually at Nathan Hale, to use the iPad where we involved a number of partners so that it was more than just DVR going out and buying an iPad for somebody. We were able to get a loaner from WADA, I think that's Washington Assistive Technology Association, so that the job coach from UW-ETP could use that. We bought a loaner iPad for the client, and WISE, Sherry McNary, provided the training for free. And the young woman started her job last week, and her advocate, who also came to the meeting, our School to Work team meeting, helped make the connection for the job. It was a whole number of people came together to make this work, and we're using the iPad at work for the client to both navigate getting to and from places because she's directionally challenged, and also to do the videos of the job tasks so she can go back and look at it and see how she's supposed to use it. So there's quite a few resources that could be brought together to help people secure the iPad or other devices through WADA as well.
Honestly, we serve about, could be 140 to 180 students we will see in a different aspect throughout the year, whether it's just introducing them to DVR or whether it's going through our program, the Youth Employment Preparation Program. One of our students, because we started, and it was a pretty severe disability, we started almost 2.5 years early. And as they mentioned, the student doesn't have to have the intake done. We just come together as a community, the SLP, the parents, the teachers, the DDD, the DVR, the caseworkers. We brought everybody on board, and we had like a roundtable meeting once a month. And that's how intense that student needed help to be able to be employable when he left high school. And he was employed when he left high school. He was nonverbal, in a wheelchair. He had no communication device, but through the collaboration of all of this team, he was able to have that device through the school district, and then because we did it first, then it was easier for his DDD person then to get this going for him. Had we not done that, I doubt if he would be employed right now and in such a successful capacity in the community. So because of that commitment we have to our students And through the collaboration and relationship we have with DVR, DDD, and our parents and the whole staff, we have a real success rate with our students being employed.
And I think one of the things that I really value about Central Kitsap School District is that Catherine and Cindy are there, that they're assigned to find all these different job sites for the students, and they have an extremely large variety of employers, a significant number of employers in a variety of different job tasks, which I think is really exceptional and really beneficial for us at DVR. So, for example, if I were to go, which I do, I go out and view students working at the job sites that the school district does, and I can really see a lot of valuable sites that they have, and see their skill levels, see their strengths, and then sometimes then they can move them into a different work site based upon what we're seeing as far as definite strengths and interests and values of the customers. So I really value that they have such a wide variety of school work experience sites.
We were very fortunate in Spokane to have many, many conversations with the community colleges of Spokane. And in 1995, we were able to develop the Community Images Program on the SCC campus. And then a couple years later, in 1997, we actually doubled and we added a second classroom. But that classroom was actually housed in a rented house in town on a city bus. And actually, it was kitty corner from DDD. How convenient. And then in the year 1998, our Spokane Public School Districts purchased 2 buildings that were permanently placed right smack in the middle of the community college campus. You get to the campus either by public transportation, paratransit. We've had a few students in the past drive, walk, ride your bike, however you can get there, but the yellow bus has stopped. The yellow bus stops coming. And then the prerequisite is the understanding and the expectation that you're going to be working or you're going to be going into a training program for the ultimate goal to be employed. And so the links with DDD and DVR, those are clear expectations and understanding that that's going to be a partnership.
I think one of the things that we can do, and it doesn't take money, it takes changing our thinking and changing some of the words we use, is to include in the environment of the youth that we have contact with the presumption of employment. Many of us growing up hear in the environment, well, when you grow up, which presumes we'll grow up. When you get married, or when you have a relationship, which presumes we'll be adults and we'll be in a committed relationship. When you have kids, we often hear those words around us. And so we grow up with the presumptions that those activities will take place. I think it's real possible in the school setting to include the presumption of employment and to make the connection between what you're working on to employment. So when you're working on getting along with others or resolving conflict in a cooperative manner or, dealing with your anger, to say your employer is going to be so happy that you have this skill, because this is a really important skill that a lot of people, do you know that a lot of people, even though they don't have disabilities, they haven't worked before either, and they come to the workplace and they don't know this stuff. You're going to know this. So make the connection to work. And I think that's also a way of strengthening in the IEPs some of the functionally based related to post-employment outcomes. Make that connection in the IEPs and help that be part of the language you're making to students. I think that can really make a profound difference in youth's lives, just in what they're thinking their future is. The presumption that they'll be working and included in the mainstream as part of their adulthood.
If everyone had some kind of a task management system, tactile, picture, iPad, whatever it is, if they had that, if they had practiced with that in work experience in the community, and they had a portfolio that showed how they were successful using it, and they went on to use it in employment, that would be a wonderful thing. And lastly, I'll say sometimes I see vice versa, that students are leaving school with those systems all set up, tactile, PECs, whatever it is, and then it goes out to the adult system and it disappears and doesn't get utilized. So my perfect vision would be we would figure out how individuals would have their individualized task management system, be able to use that in the community, and that would be carried on from school forward.
we also need to get the school district personnel, both the administrators and the teachers, committed to the idea that our goal is a job before they graduate, not after they graduate and we hand them off to somebody else. If we could get that commitment, I think we would make a lot bigger difference in some of those kids' lives.
Think about young adults you know, or whom you have known in the past, young adults who have intellectual disabilities, maybe even really some significant impairments. Maybe some of these young adults are also in wheelchairs, or don't hear very well, or as John O'Brien puts it, have a whole lot of autism. Maybe some folks aren't able to see. Probably most aren't able to easily carry on a conversation, or they talk too much. Or maybe the young people you are thinking about can't speak English, or are only understood by a few people, or perhaps can't speak at all. Maybe the young people you are imagining also have a rare syndrome, or are easily angered or frightened and prone to outbursts. Or perhaps the young person you are thinking about is just the opposite: quiet, meek, shy, no trouble at all, but you worry even more. The only thing each person you are thinking of has in common is that each one is completely unlike the other young person you are imagining, and completely unlike the new student you will meet next year. Now imagine this. Imagine each person you have been thinking about is working at a job he likes. Imagine she's working at a job she likes. Imagine every student in your head is working. All of them. All of the people in your mind, all of the people in your classroom, all of the people on your caseload and on your coworker's caseload, and in the classroom across the hall, and in the portable in the back of the parking lot. Imagine she's also earning a pretty good wage, maybe even a living wage. This may take some time to imagine. You're probably thinking of a lot of young adults. Take the time needed to imagine every single person is working. All of them, all working, all have jobs. All have good jobs. Because when you imagine what it might look like when everyone is working, you have just imagined your future. I stand before you today fully confident by the time our children grow up, by the time another lunchtime speaker is talking about going to elementary school in the 2010s, there will be no need for a conference such as this one, because we will be living in a world where everyone is expected to go to work and have a good job, and thinking about what will I be when I grow up will be just as much a given and happen at just about the same time as when do I start school, Mom?